Right now I think what I'll finish doing is, or at least start working on, is modeling up the radiator lines. So inlet and outlet for the water pump, the overflow tank, and the steam line. I figure I'd show a little bit of how I'm doing a lot of these cooling lines, the radiator lines, the heater core lines, the overflow line. So I've pieced together various hoses that I went to AutoZone, Napa, whatever, looking for hoses that met the bend that I needed. Well, I got that, and I kind of mocked up the one. This is the lower inlet to the water pump coming off the bottom of the radiator. And what I did was, so I cut it, and then I put this, I don't know, this mesh over it, kind of taped it to hold it in place. And then what I'm going to do is heat shrink over so that the mesh doesn't like fray, and then hose clamp over it so it'll kind of look like, let's see, fix this piece here, starting to come off. So heat shrink goes over, and then I'll peel the tape off, but I'll leave it for the moment. This will kind of go over, and I might go over the little union that I have. Reducer goes from 1.5 to 1 1/4 for the inlet of the water pump. I'll probably push this over so it'll also cover that little piece of brass you might be able to see there. Anyways, not that important even if it does show, but this will go over here, and then hose clamp, well, it won't go on there now, but hose clamp over the heat shrink as well. And this is just regular, I don't know, mildly heavy duty heat shrink, just to clean it up so it looks a little bit better. But that's what I'm going with. I'll probably show a more detailed process when I do the overflow line, because it's one size from beginning to end. This one, it has a reducer, so this one's a little bit more odd, but I'll show you.